Gaming Magic's top worst games of all time.
About a year ago, I answered a question in my 4,000 subscriber Q&A video that asked, what are your top 10 worst games of all time? And at the time, even though my list was largely off the cuff, I still knew that it was an accurate summation of what I considered to be the absolute dregs of video games, and of what angered me the most out of everything I had ever played. What I did not know was that over the course of the next few months, I would find myself playing a handful of games that were so shockingly horrible that they completely upended my list and almost entirely threw all of it out the window. Was every game pushed out of the top 10? No, of course not. You'll still see some returning faces from the initial list I made last year, but I hated these new games so much that I could not let my previous list stand as it was. And thus, we have this video.
I hate to be a dick, but his voice already is like, I don't like his voice.
As a quick disclaimer, I will be limiting myself to only put one game per franchise on this list, because otherwise there'd be absolutely no variety between the games whatsoever. Now then, in spot number 20, we have...
I don't even know what the fuck this is.
Come on, that's not fair. This doesn't belong on your list. It was just a quick little game priced at $1 made as marketing for Bendy and the Dark Revival. Doesn't it seem a little excessive to put such a low-effort game on your list of worst games of all time?
No, it does not. No, it does not. I don't care if this game was made in 1 day or 1 year, and I don't care if it costs $0 or $100. It pisses me off.
That is that's my favorite YouTuber trope, where they like mock a perfectly reasonable argument. And I'm just thinking like, yeah, that's a good point, whoever came up with that. And they're like, no, it's fucking shit. And I'm not saying that to insult this guy, because honestly, I've done things similar to that, but it is funny. It makes me laugh. Oh my god, Overwatch. Woo! One of the worst games of all time is Overwatch. Based? I don't know, kind of based. I'm not gonna lie. I want to hear what he says for a second.
Quite possibly the most controversial placement on the entire list, but it is one that I will stand behind confidently and assertively because Overwatch is a steaming hot pile of dog water. There are the small things, such as the cancel search and change profile actions being bound to the same input. There are the ugly things like loot boxes, which are universally agreed upon as being horrible regardless of whether or not they're cosmetic only. And then there's the big things, such as the fact that a majority of these maps do not have any flanking routes whatsoever, meaning that the attacking team is forced on a singular choke point with absolutely nothing that they can possibly do. There is no other way around these situations other than brute force and luck because there's no way to flank the enemy and get the jump on them. Of course, I say that, but to be honest, it wouldn't even matter if these maps had the best design in history because the gameplay is fundamentally broken. There is no nuance to the strategy in Overwatch. There are no opportunities for creative outplays thanks to the shallow, one-note hero abilities. There are no opportunities for flanking routes thanks to the suffocating design of the maps, and both of those combine together to restrict any and all possibilities for well-coordinated teamwork. It's quite literally as shallow as the person with the better ultimate ability wins, and, oh, they have this hero, then I shall switch to this hero to counter them.
Alright, yeah, I mean, you know, all fair criticism, certainly. I don't know if it's worst game of all time by any stretch.
Look, I don't want to talk about this. I have nothing but pain and horror associated with it. But I will say that it's not on the list for the reasons you may think. Yes, of course they contributed to my decision to never touch it again with a 10-foot pole. But the
Crocodile Vor in an Indiana Jones game. Okay.
In order to get out of a body of water, you have to push forward on the control stick to grab onto dry land and pull yourself up. But pushing forward is also what you have to do to dive down to the bottom again, which is frustrating by itself, but is made even worse when crocodiles are actively trying to eat you. Speaking of which, I guess we should talk about these guys, huh? I don't know who thought this would be a good idea, but they need to reevaluate everything they understand of competent game design, because nothing about these swimming sections is even remotely fun, thanks partly to the swimming controls, but mostly due to these scaly bundles of nightmare fuel. They swim way too
I don't know, seems like a skill issue, buddy.
Hard to do given the
seems like a skill issue.
Swimming controls.
Skill issue with the Indiana Jones shit-ass shovelware game. Okay, Indiana Jones shovelware, sure, why not? I guess that belongs on a list like this. That's fair. That's okay. I can live with that. The Witness?
I didn't hesitate to put any of the
Wait a minute. The Witness is one of the worst games ever made. I mean, I don't really care for puzzle games, so I'm probably not going to ever play this. But what the fuck? Is that... I mean... All right. So I don't care. I mean, I haven't played it, so I'm not gonna like debunk anything.
Take my time with it.
This seems very bizarre.
Fun fact: if you make a game where the message is "Don't smoke, it's terrible for you," and the reviews all consist of people saying it was so bad they went to take a smoke, you might have bungled over yourself somewhere along the way. Yes, smoking is horrible for you. No, you shouldn't do it. This has been a Trevor Magic PSA. But as I've said a million times before, it doesn't matter how benevolent your thematic messaging is if the actual substance of your game is steaming hot garbage.
Alright, so it's another shovelware. I already forgot what this game even is. Did he even say the name? What the fuck is this game? I already forgot. It's some shovelware thing. I don't even know.
Don't you understand? It's all about the theme. Because it's not an easy battle to quit smoking, and only 1 in 4 teens can actually do it. Quitting is about more than just skill, and it's a different experience for everyone, which is why the puzzles randomly change every time you play.
Fuck off! Stop using thematic messaging to justify broken stories and abysmal gameplay mechanics. You pay $0 to play this game and it's still a ripoff. Never ever download One Lease for any reason.
I respect this man's passion. I wish people on YouTube actually had passion anymore. All we get are boring video essays.
The bridge constructor formula with a portal coat of paint and having GLaDOS deliver lines copy and pasted from the mainline games isn't enough to trick me into thinking the game is actually good. And just so we're clear, I love puzzle games.
What are these choices, man? Like, maybe because I conflate disappointment with shit in my mind. Because really, the two are inseparable, because it's almost pointless to show, like, the 20 most objectively bad games of all time, because it would just be 20 shovelware games, probably all for the Wii. The Wii had some of the worst shovelware of all time. That's just boring. I would rather, you know, like the Overwatch choice, like that's fucking based, because that's like a game that is not objectively terrible, you know, so that it's just a hot take, basically. I don't know, this other shit, I don't give a fuck. Really? This is one of the worst games he's ever played? I remember even kind of liking this game. It's not as good as Battle for Bikini Bottom, definitely not.
Cutscenes are just lazy, crappy PowerPoint presentations of screenshots from the movie. Like, really? You couldn't
I guess that is shit.
The actual clips from the movie? You just resorted to a slideshow of images that look infinitely worse than the actual footage from the movie and are of bafflingly low visual fidelity?
Okay, guys, we're like 5 requests deep. I know, because usually I don't watch a video this long, but I'm intrigued. This guy has my attention. He does. He has my attention.
Is the game at least fun to play then? No! No, it's not. Let me tell you why. The levels are linear as all hell with no opportunity for exploration, except for a side area that will warp you out of the level to teleport you to the wacko dimension. There's no sense of seamlessness to the world design. It's a disjointed mess of padded objectives to complete. There's no sense of exploring the depths of a forest or the ins and outs of a city. You're just drawn to random shiny teleportation platforms, which then take you to a random cube land and break your immersion.
Okay, what the fuck? Why are you immersed in SpongeBob? Do not ever put immersed and SpongeBob in the same fucking sentence. It's a cartoon, dude. Come on, man. That's so autistic. What are you talking about? I mean, I don't know. I guess the movie game might be worse than I remember, but this is fucking stupid. What are you talking about, dude? This is better than half the YouTubers you like. I guarantee it. Movie game was Kino. Sonic in the Secret Rings. That is probably a shit game. I haven't played it, but it definitely seems shit. I can tell this guy's autistic and grew up watching Nostalgia Critic and Yahtzee. I definitely watched Nostalgia Critic growing up, so and look at me, I'm one of the best YouTubers ever. Someone's gonna take that out of context. I guarantee it. Like, oh, see, look at his ego. He thinks he's one of the best YouTubers ever. Yeah, I fucking. Why are all my enemies retarded? Why can't there be like smart people who don't like me? I can't tell if the game really is this bad or he's just that bad at playing it that he's going so slow. There's got to be at least a game I agree with on here, right? Oh, I heard that was pretty bad. Give me a right. Thanks, $5. The real Cybertwink called you an ableist. I think I saw that video, didn't I? Clearly they can't handle the neutron style. Yep. Sodium chloride.
Just a little sodium chloride.
Actually, dude, it's salt.
That's what I said.
No, dude, you said sodium chloride. Yes, it's the same as salt, but you could have just said salt instead. Everyone in this town knows you're a boy genius, dude. You don't need to say overly large words to sound more intelligent. The fact of the matter is that nobody cares how smart you are. If anything, calling simplistic objects by their scientific name ironically makes you seem less intelligent and more pompous. I know you're smart enough to be better than this.
No.
Okay, actually, let's talk about that meme for a second. Can we talk about how all the Zoomers who didn't grow up with Jimmy Neutron don't understand the context of that episode at all? I've seen multiple, like, parody skeet, like, responses that are all spin-offs of, like, the 4chan green text that was, like, the original. But the point is, I watch those videos, I laugh, then I read the comments, and these Zoomers are unironically using that to critique the show. I'm like, no, the whole point of the episode is that Jimmy has a massive ego, and that he thinks so little of normal people, and is also autistic, that he would refer to salt as sodium chloride. There's people, I unironically read a bunch of comments that Zoomers like, yeah, this is why the show sucks, dude, because Jimmy, look at Jimmy, he thinks he's so smart. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's the point of it, you dumbass. God damn. Like, idiots, dude. Too many fucking idiots. You just knew. You just knew there had to be at least... This would not have been recommended to me if there wasn't at least one fucking game on here that, like, just... okay, let's hear why the Zoomer doesn't like Super Mario 64. Here we go. Let's go.
But this game has quite the cult following, with some regarding it as one of the greatest games ever made.
Wait a minute. Cult following? Cult following? Everybody likes this game. That's not a cult following. This is one of the greatest games ever fucking made. I mean, are you kidding me? Cult following. I don't think he knows what that means. I don't think he knows what that term means. Everybody likes this game.
To wonder if these people have ever played any 3D Mario games, or really just any games in general, that were released after the Nintendo 64 era. Yes, when the game came out, it was one of the first games of this scale to ever be made in 3D, so things like free camera control were seen as revolutionary. But some games that are revolutionary still hold up over 20 years later, and in fact, outstrip many AAA games released nowadays. But others, like Super Mario 64, have nothing to write on other than its initial groundbreaking success, because trying to play this game nowadays is only pain. The controls are unbearably stiff and unforgiving, because you're only allowed to make major changes in the direction you're moving. No minor adjustments in your positioning are allowed, which becomes real frustrating real fast considering some of the jumps in this game. The camera is very similar in that it only progresses in stages. You don't have total control, you are only allowed...
The camera is a problem, but it's not that bad. You just get used to it.
The actual mission design is garbage, from racing against competitors that are slow as dirt and being forced to wait the entire duration of their run before you can get the star, trial and error treasure chest challenges, slide sections with abysmal...
I mean, it's a game for babies. Of course the race is easy. He probably says he likes Super Mario Galaxy. Super Mario Galaxy is actually easier than Super Mario 64, because Super Mario 64's controls are, you know, not the best in the world. But Galaxy is actually fucking easier, so don't give me this, like, oh, it's too easy. Castle 23 Clash at 1, thanks to $2. Banjo-Kazooie greater than Mario 64. I actually agree with you. I'm one of the people who agrees with you, but I still think Super Mario 64 is a great game.
The game is just a slog to get through, and if you told me I'd have to 100% Super Mario 64 or Sunshine, I'd seriously have to think about it.
Oh, big surprise, he hates Sunshine too.
When I have very little
fucking get good.
And in case you're wondering why 64 is here instead of Sunshine when I have very little positive to say about that game, it's simple. Sunshine has a pretty solid first half and decent controls. Super Mario 64 has neither, and you will never, ever get me to play this game to completion, no matter what.
Watching him just be shit at the game is funny. Like, I feel like being bad at the game does not prove your point, you know what I mean? Like, you can see, just watch any speedrunner, and I know I hate speedrunners, so I hate that I have to reference them. But if so many people have speedran the game, and they do all these insane moves, extremely precise jumps, obviously it's possible. You know, the movement is a bit antiquated, but if people can consistently complete the game at a certain speed over and over again, then the controls obviously have a level of precision to them. They're consistent, you know? I mean, I don't know, like, I hate that I have to defend, you know, Super Mario 64 like this, because it's not even my favorite. I honestly probably do like Galaxy better, and Sunshine is my favorite, so... Even though Sunshine is definitely the most flawed, I just think it's the most fun to actually play. Yeah, that was legitimately bad too.
If there was ever a game to teach...
Rainbow Six Siege again. See, this is the type of shit where it's like, you know what, you have my attention again. I'm with you again. Let's hear how he hates Siege. As someone who has probably put, you know, I don't know, probably 600 hours into Siege, maybe we'll around that. You know, we'll see what he has to say.
If there was ever a game to teach the lesson of less is more, I never would have thought it'd be Rainbow Six Siege. Yet, here we are. The developer's commitment to eventually reach 100 operators is digging this game's grave. It used to be about strategy, teamwork, and map control, but now it's just a competition to see which developers can come up with the wackiest new gameplay mechanic because they have to keep adding new operators in order to keep people coming back. That's the appeal of this game. What zany new gimmick are they gonna introduce next season? I can't wait to see! Why bother fixing critical audio issues, hitboxing, netcode, and balancing in an FPS game as competitive as it's trying to be, when you can just add colorful new cosmetics and shiny new toys to play with?
All true. All true.
But the shiny new toys they show off every season are either blatant ripoffs of older operators, thus rendering the original versions of them completely obsolete, or they come up with a new idea that's so ridiculously and blatantly overpowered or laughable and pathetically underpowered that they either make that one new operator irrelevant, or make 10 other old operators irrelevant. The people working on this game desperately need to learn about quality over quantity.
All true. Everything he just said was true. Everything he just said was true. He redeemed himself with this day. This is actually probably the most accurate criticism that he's had this entire video was for this game, where it's like, yes, as someone who played the game, I agree with everything that he just said.
They're focusing on trying to get to 100 operators during this game's lifespan and adding a new map every single season instead of fixing what they already have, which is what's sinking the boat that is this game. Then again, maybe they shouldn't try to fix what they have, because every time they go back to try to rework an older map, they always, without fail, manage to make the map infinitely worse every single time.
Yup. Oh my god. Oh, this is okay. You know what? This video just got redeemed 100% by that. This is everything I've been saying about the game. Everything I've said about this fucking game, he just said. I can tell you're vindicated. It must feel great. I know, because this is one of those things where it's like, I'm never going to talk about it in a video, so I'm glad that this has been covered, so I feel like I don't need to talk about it.
What? The previous second place holder has fallen all the way down to 7th place? How could this have happened?
This guy needs to play more games. I feel like he's spent the majority of his time playing multiplayer games. I can just tell from this list. It's like, I'm not sure I would put any multiplayer game as one of the worst games ever made. I really wouldn't. Because, like, I don't know, man. Well, partially because I don't really care about multiplayer games that much, but also because I haven't played anyone that was, like, truly that terrible, you know? Fall Guys. Yeah, this guy's gotta play more games. Holy shit. I've never seen a case of play more games than this. Like, this is like, yeah, play more games, please. You gotta play more games, dude.
I really don't know why I didn't include this game on the list the first time around, but in hindsight, I'm glad I waited because
this video has been a roller coaster ride, guys. This has been a fucking roller coaster ride. Has it not? Has it not? How the hell is Among Us one of the worst games? It just because of a meme? It's just a game you play with your friends. That's it. Like, there's nothing wrong with Among Us. There's nothing wrong with Among Us, dude. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's like an amazing game. It's fine for what it is. There's nothing wrong with it. What the fuck? What a stupid. Come on, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. I think I've heard of this. I don't care. Okay, we're in the fucking top 5, and I don't care. This gotta be like some really truly shit game. Come on. These are the worst games of all time. The worst games of all time. There was maybe 2 games on here that legitimately belonged. Maybe 2. Sonic and the Secret Rings was definitely one of them. I don't know. I don't even fucking know what the other one would be. This is. Are you fucking joking? This is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I really struggled to decide which game would earn this spot. As a reminder, I've imposed a rule that I'm only allowed to have one game per series on this list, and to be frank, that rule was imposed specifically so that we wouldn't end up talking about 3 Danganronpa games in a row. Of course, I could always just say
Wait a minute.
because, let's be clear, they'd all be up here in the top 5 otherwise. Of course, I could always just say Danganronpa Decadence is one of the games and call it a day, but let's not take the easy way out. So then, which Danganronpa game is most deserving of the title of second worst game I've ever played? Well, after much deliberation, the conclusion I've arrived at is that for as much of a morally reprehensible, mechanically imbalanced nightmare as Ultra Despair Girls is, and for as little effort as was put into Ultimate Summer Camp, for as laughably horrible its dialogue is, for as brain-dead as its combat mechanics are, for as out-of-character as these bonus interactions are, and for as greedy as its EA microtransaction system is in regards to blatantly locking characters behind paywalls like it's a gacha game.
I don't fucking understand this video, like, at all. I fundamentally don't get it. This is so stupid. Alright, yeah, let's just skip to number 1 then. Alright, this is fucking... here we go.
Never in a million years could I have ever predicted that the series would fall this far. Admittedly, I did have concerns about Sealwol's ability to carry the FNAF franchise into the future. They crafted an incredible tribute to the series and helped one it with faithfully recreated VR versions.
I'm just gonna give this video a like, fuck it. Here you go. I gotta tell my brother to watch this video. I don't know if he'll be able to make it through it though, because he's not a big fan of cringe. But I find this more funny than I find it cringe. I'll be honest. It's like a careful balance between funny and cringe. This guy's pouring his heart out. This is what YouTube is supposed to be. Baby's first top 20 video. I know. Why do you think I haven't made a worst games of all time list? Because I feel like I haven't played enough bad games, you know? There's almost never enough. Though honestly, after doing this for almost 4 years, I probably could actually put a pretty competent list together by now. I don't get this video one bit. This is peak Zoomer core, where it's like, I've played at least 30 games worse than, like, I don't know, the worst of this list, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't play Security Breach, my brother did. It seemed pretty mediocre, I'll admit, but, like, the worst game of all time. The worst game of all time. Oh, I think over half the games on this list just do not belong here on any level. On any level, man. Like, putting, like, Fortnite, you know, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch. It's like, look, you might hate those games, but they're not the worst games ever made. Unless, I don't know, I didn't watch the Overwatch part, but you could argue it's one of the worst games in terms of its influence. You know what I mean? Like, I could see you arguing Fortnite is one of the worst games, not from, like, a technical standpoint or a fun standpoint, but just, like, this is ruining the video game industry standpoint. But, goddamn, dude. Yeah, and visual novels. Fucking visual novels. It's his list. He said that he hated those the most. Yeah, of course it's his list. Every list is his list. Every video I've made is an opinion piece. It doesn't mean you can't criticize it. People are free to criticize my videos. They're just not free to say I think my opinion is objective. I've never fucking said that. But I will insult, like, I'll call anybody a retard. I mean, but that has nothing to do with my opinion being objective or not.
And thus concludes my list of the top 20 worst games I have ever played, updated as of 2022. Now all we can do is hope that this year won't provide me with even more games that will fundamentally shatter this list even more than 2021 did. Please, please don't let this year give me more soul-crushing video games. My heart can't take this anymore. Thanks for watching, everyone.
He's 36. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Then he's 1000% autistic. I mean, I'm pretty sure he is. I am honestly impressed this guy made it to 31,000 subs. I wish him the best. I wish him the best. that was amusing. I was amused. It reminds me of a younger me in some ways. Do I have a top 20 worst games? Actually, I've never written up a list like that, but I imagine it would get a lot of views. What is the worst game I played? I really will have to think about it. I really have to think about it.